In an earlier video, we looked at 3 of the expansions for Carcassonne online. Today, we'll review the last 3 and teach you how to play on Legendary Tactics. Now, there is no formal tutorial provided by the online digital version of Carcassonne for these 3 expansions, so I'm going to just walk you through them very quickly. And fortunately, we can take care of 2 of them right at setup, actually, as it turns out. So the 2 we're going to look at first are the Abbot and the River. Now, the River is essentially an alternate setup. Typically in Carcassonne, you have a starting tile. This gives you a selection of starting tiles. Essentially, you build a river that becomes the centerpiece around which you build. So you alternate. This is the starting tile, the new starting tile, and then you draw from these river tiles until it's complete. And you can place, you can see, you can flip it around as long as the river is connected. It doesn't matter. And you can kind of customize your own setup. And not only that, you have the opportunity to get a head start on a road or in the field. If you want to put down farmers at this early stage, you can. I think it's a bit early at the beginning of the game, but you have that option. So you place tiles essentially as you would normally. And they go back and forth like that. With basically where each player plays a tile, and then they build out the river. Now, this actually leads to the next expansion. Sorry, the Abbot. Now, the Abbot is kind of an interesting meeple in the sense that it's like a meeple that allows you to score monasteries and gardens even before monasteries are completed. I'll show you how that works here. So you can see on my piece here on the river, you see this little garden icon here. You kind of have to pay very close attention to spot them. So when you place a tile either with a monastery or a garden, you have the option of clicking on the Abbot and putting the Abbot on the garden. Okay, and that's placed in place of your normal meeple. And then in a future turn, instead of placing a meeple, you can pick up the Abbot and take him back into your hand, and you score 1 point per surrounding tile that's in place, such as including the tile that the Abbot's on. So very much like the monastery, except you can score it even when it's partially completed, or in the case of a garden, you don't have to surround the garden with all 9 tiles in order to score it. So I'll show you how this works here. This tile here is not especially useful to us. I don't know, I'll just set it up like this. But it's not especially useful in terms of placing farmers or anything, and there's no roads to place on. So this gives us the opportunity then, you can see the arrow pointing to the Abbot. We're going to pick up the Abbot instead, and we're going to score 3 points for the 3 tiles, including the tile that the Abbot was on and the 2 adjacent ones. So we get 3 points right off the bat. What I like about the Abbot, it's a simple mechanic, but it allows you to have an alternate play. If there really isn't, if you're just playing to continue a road or something, you can still, do something. You can score points at least. And it gives you an opportunity to, if you're not used to playing with the Abbot, it actually gives your opponent a bit of an advantage, because I found even when I played this through the first time that my opponent was scoring a ton of points on the Abbot just because my head wasn't there really as far as how to use him properly. So just zoom in here, and you can see that my opponent here, my AI opponent, placed the monastery and then placed the Abbot on that space. So I'm going to be less inclined to place any tiles around the Abbot at any point. Right now, if he chooses not to place one of his meeples, then he can pick up the Abbot for a total of 3 points. So either on a monastery, as you can see there, or as a garden, as you saw earlier, that's how the Abbot works. It's just an alternate possibility as far as scoring points. And if you have the Abbot down on the board, it can potentially give you something to do if you really if you play a tile that really doesn't allow you to place a meeple in an intelligent way. So great little expansion for that. And the river, again, you can see the full length of it here. And this is this would be your full starting setup. It will be variable each time, which is great. But you have sort of 12 starting tiles to build from, and you can see there's lots of roads. There's a monastery already in play. There's a few spots for cities to grow. So there's a lot here in terms of giving you a relatively varied setup, and opens up a lot more possibilities than the standard Carcassonne game. So that's the first two expansions, and now I'll move on to what they call the Winter Edition. So the Winter Edition is essentially an aesthetic change. The game itself is no different, just a different aesthetic. However, there is an additional meeple here, which is the Gingerbread Man, and the Gingerbread Man benefits anyone that has placed meeples or knights in cities, in that I'll show you how this works here. So I'm going to place a meeple, a knight here in this city, and what you want to keep an eye out for is tiles which have the Gingerbread Man on them. Okay, that's what's going to to benefit. Basically, the way it works is when the Gingerbread Man tile is played, and I'll show you when there's a little icon on that tile. The Ginger Man leaves the city that he happens to be in and goes to a different incomplete city. And when he does that, you score 1 point per tile in the city per knight that you have. So if you have a lot of knights or a lot of meeples in the cities, it can be a really good point scorer for you. And I'm going to try and illustrate that for you here and just basically play for that goal there. So let's see if we can. I don't know. We're just going to build out this city as best we can here. Mainly just, as I said, to illustrate the Gingerbread Man mechanic more than anything else. So let's just do this, and just going to zip through here as quickly as possible. Okay, we had to play a little while before the Ginger Man token turned up properly here, so I'm going to play this part here, and you can see the Gingerbread Man icon on the tile. So I'm going to just play that there. I'm going to go to this, put a little incomplete city there, and I'm going to do that. Then the Gingerbread Man will score, in this case, 7 points. And that's because I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tiles. And if I had managed to get 2 knights in there, or 3 knights, obviously that multiplies the score. So it's a really valuable thing. The coat of arms do not score anything. It's just meeples, just knights that you have in the cities. And now I have to choose an incomplete city for the Gingerbread Man to go to, and the process starts again. If there is no spot for the Gingerbread Man to move to, then he's just removed from the board and placed the next time a Gingerbread Man tile turns up. But it's, again, just another kind of strategy, another element to take into consideration if the base game of Carcassonne has become a bit stale for you. The idea behind this expansion is to, again, as with any expansion, it's to add more replayability, more interest, and, more complexity as well. But usually people who are adding expansions to games they love are because they already have played it to death and they know the rules inside out. So it's usually not that much rules overhead. So this is these are the 3 expansions that are available, the 3 remaining expansions that are available for the Carcassonne Online. Hope you got some value out of this, just to get a sense of the different new elements that are added, and hopefully that was good as an introduction for you. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time here on Legendary Tactics.